Hey everybody, I'm Gino of Major Push Wrestling Talk Show. You'll notice that Mike isn't here today. He's got some important family issues to work out, but the show must go on. I'm going to be giving our Raw review. This Monday's Raw emanated from Denver, Colorado, which is strange because they were over in the East Coast, Stamford, Connecticut, Boston area just for last week's tapings. Now they're over in Colorado, so that's just pretty crazy. Usually they stay relatively close, within a couple hundred miles. First of all, the opening segment, which is usually always one of the major segments that WWE plans for their events. I thought, however, it was drawn on just a little too long. I was kind of praying that the announcement would be CM Punk coming back to the WWE because I don't really see the announcement that they made earlier. I found myself looking down as something that would shake the WWE to its core. In fact, it definitely didn't shake anything. If anything, I could see it coming from a mile away because they want to make Roman Reigns look good. I was a little perturbed with what I was seeing just because it was drawing on too long. I thought they could have done it a lot quicker, especially with the lackluster delivery of the announcement that Roman Reigns would have to put his WrestleMania title shot on the line at WWE Fastlane, the pay-per-view that's replacing Elimination Chamber this month, against the winner of the Raw's main event, Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll watch a Seth Rollins-Daniel Bryan match all day long. Why would Roman Reigns have to be put into a situation where he has to accept something that the smart people aren't supposed to willingly put themselves in a shitty spot like that? Yeah, I get he's a babyface and he's supposed to be willing to fight for his spot, but isn't that what winning the Royal Rumble is? Fighting for your spot? Yes, that is exactly what it is, Gino. Thank you, Gino. Now, when Roman Reigns said yes to that, I was like, why would you say yes? Just say no. I get that you're a babyface and don't want to get booed, but the smart thing to do would say no. So, and the authorities, the bad guys, why couldn't they have just forced him to do it? If they had forced him to put his title shot on the line at Fastlane instead of asking him if he would be willing to do it, I think it would have popped a little bit better. I think it would have felt a little bit more gravitas as far as the heel authority figures and the babyface being put in a shitty spot. I just thought, well, it's so obvious what they're trying to do, and I just didn't like it. It just stank, and if you could, it just felt desperate, and desperation's a stinky cologne. Now, as for the rest of the Raw leading up, there wasn't a whole lot of major segments. Yeah, Cena and Rusev did their thing, but I'm not really emotionally invested in that. You all know that I love Cena. However, I don't feel that he's the right guy to end Rusev's undefeated streak. Now, we don't know if that's going to happen or not, but if they're doing a U.S. title match at Fastlane, I mean, I don't really see Cena losing that match for a title. Probably going to do a count-out finish or something like that, but we'll get to our Fastlane predictions in another video. The only other match I really want to talk about here was the Big Show versus Roman Reigns. Not because it was a stellar match with wrestling ability. It was actually just the first time that Roman Reigns has taken a pinfall loss in a one-on-one singles match in NXT. Actually, that was before NXT even existed. It was the last time he had a single loss, a single pin loss. Yeah, he's been no finish against Rusev. He forfeited a match against Rollins because of his injury, his hernia that came up. The show's supposed to be based around him. He's supposed to be getting the major push. Now, I don't understand why, if you're giving Roman this push, and we all know it's coming, why are you going to make Big Show go over in this match? Okay, now on to the main event. Now, this is the match that everybody wants to talk about. Now, I thought that Rollins was going to go over because we were going to get a face versus a heel. Roman Reigns being the face, Seth Rollins being the heel. I definitely thought that was the match we were going to get at Fastlane, WWE Fastlane, which is free for February subscribers on the WWE Network, which will eventually become $9.99 if you do not cancel immediately after Fastlane. But now Daniel Bryan gets the win. What this means is it's either not looking good for Roman Reigns' chances at facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, or they just want to put Roman Reigns with the best possible athlete they can and have Daniel Bryan basically carry Roman Reigns to WrestleMania. So that's the way I see why they chose to go with Daniel Bryan over Seth Rollins. I mean, obviously you can't have Daniel Bryan be losing. You can't just be booking him poorly. It's going to backfire on the company. And, as Triple H was saying in his podcast, now speaking of the podcast, Triple H sat down with Stone Cold Steve Austin immediately following this Monday night's Raw, and just like they did with Vince a couple weeks ago. Triple H had a lot of questions to answer. Stone Cold was pressuring him about Roman Reigns and fan backlash from the Royal Rumble, and that goes into the kayfabe being dead thing, which is one of the main points that they touched upon. Kayfabe is basically dead, but we as fans of this product are more than willing to go along for the ride, if the ride is fun. Okay, we might know what we're in for, but if it's presented to me good, if it's the story's told right, then you're gonna get people excited about it. Okay, if we know what's coming, and God forbid we find out that Brock Lesnar ends up signing a deal for leaving the company after WrestleMania, the whole thing's gonna go down the tank. So that's what Austin and Triple H were really talking about, and I really, really appreciated that Triple H was actually trying to give his honest answers to these questions. I mean, you could tell he was beating around the bush a little bit, as my co-host Mike mentioned to me. He was beating around the bushes a little bit, trying to play up there are still little kids that are possibly watching this, so you don't want to just tell them straight up Santa Claus isn't real. You know what I mean? So, and what I gathered from this podcast is that Triple H has a good grasp on the future. He really does listen to the internet wrestling community, or IWC, as it's affectionately called. Now, he listens. Whether or not he's going to do things that are going to make the fans react positively to him is another question. However, it turns out that Vince is still calling pretty much all the shots, as Triple H was saying in the WWE. Vince is calling all the shots. However, in NXT, H gets to call all the shots. And if NXT Revolution and any of the live house NXT shows I've been going to recently are any indication, NXT is probably the better product right now from a wrestling standpoint, from a storyline standpoint, other than the fact that it doesn't have all the big crowds and the big names in it. The wrestling is spectacular. The storylines are spectacular. Even the Divas matches get time, and they are great. Match of the night candidates when Paige was back there with Charlotte. So, and they got Emma and everybody else down, Bayley, all those people. The Divas division is on point in the NXT, to the point where most NXT athletes don't want to get called up to the WWE because they know that they're probably going to lose their push, get buried. When you're a wrestler, your name and your face and your livelihood, you want to be out there. You don't want to be like Zack Ryder, being pushed down. I'd rather be in NXT, getting on televised events when, or for the network. If the cameras are rolling, I like to call it televised. So getting on the televised events and being in front of a live crowd. You want to be able to expose yourself. Now, the next thing that I want to bring up is when Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin started talking about the idea of China going in the Hall of Fame. I've read reports that China has reached out to the WWE, and Triple H has admitted that she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. However, you don't want to put somebody in the Hall of Fame that has negativity attached to them. If you were a little kid and you were going to go Google the person's name, I believe was what Triple H was referring to. See, if you Google Chris Benoit, you're not going to see his amazing WrestleMania 20 win after winning the Royal Rumble. You're not going to get any of that. You're only going to see about the double murder-suicide that happened between him and his wife and his kid. Now, and the roid rage stuff that happened back in 2006. You're only going to hear about that when you search Chris Benoit. It's just the fact. And he was one of the greatest wrestlers. He was probably my favorite growing up. The crippler crossface. He sold that move way better than John Cena sells at STFU with the lock. That's for damn sure. Don't get me wrong, Cena. You're still my boy. But the crippler crossface was just an amazing, amazing move. And I'm never gonna not love that move. But going back to China, she was a porn star. The reason I told you this is because she has done pornography, she has got naked on camera, and is out there in the internet for possible kids to stumble upon if they were to search who's this new woman that I wasn't even born yet when they were wrestling in the 90s. Because that's really where the demographic is at. But I think she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. We've got people who have plenty of checkered past. We're talking, Ric Flairs of the world. We're talking, you road rage on somebody and got out of the car when he got no fight. And they even made a joke about it on the wrestling product. I'll never forget when Edge was dressed up as Ric Flair and he just went nature boy all over somebody with a figure four leg lock in the middle of traffic. That was hilarious. If you have the WWE Network, go ahead and look up that episode of Monday Night Raw. It was spectacular. I want to say it was between 2005 and 2008. Now, they also brought up Brock's future. And I've been nervous about this. I've been hearing a lot of reports that at least some smaller MMA companies are reaching out to him. Bellator for one. But the UFC, at least Dana White, said that once his contract is up, he's open to talking with Brock, but he doesn't appear to be trying to step on WWE's toes and take the talent away from them, which I really, really, really do appreciate. However, I don't think Brock Lesnar's coming back. It's sad. It's really asinine of him to come here, only agree to work a few events, and then just be out, and then just go back to actual fighting. I really think that it's not going to be a good career move. I think that he has unfinished business, yes, in the UFC, and I think I wouldn't be completely torn if he went back, but if he went back after he was sick, it would be way more important. He has come to the WWE. We have embraced him as our champion, even though we've barely seen him, and all the storylines are getting thrown out of whack because the champion's not there, but yet there's still storylines saying that if you don't defend your title for 60 days, you have to give up the title. I don't understand why WWE treats us like child just because their demographic is children. You see kids' movies nowadays where they appeal to adults but are friendly for kids. That way you get everybody coming into your product. That's what WWE needs to be doing. They're not really they're appealing to kids that can sometimes be friendly for the adults. And I don't really feel like that's a good business model because the adults are the one that bring your kids to the product. That it is just is what it is. Yeah, I guess getting the kids to want to go and nagging the parents to go is the majority of how kids get what they want and how they get taken to the movies and taken to things that they can't go to themselves because they don't have their own income. But still, I just really, really worry about it. Now, also what was brought up, and I really didn't think that they were going to get into this, but Stone Cold talked to Triple H about CM Punk and his relationship. Now, based on what we heard from CM Punk's podcast with Colt Cabana, we heard his side of the story, and it appeared that he was being 110% truthful. Now, it also appears that Triple H was being 100% truthful, but I can't believe both of them, even though there's three sides to every story. CM Punk's side, Triple H's side, and the truth. Okay, I really think what the truth is that they're at each other's throats. Triple H was saying that they weren't. Triple H was saying he barely talked to him, there was no bad blood, things of that nature, and I don't believe it. It sounds like there's bad blood right now. And he said that he would, never say never when in regards to CM Punk coming back. I really hope that Triple H can reach out to CM Punk and eventually pull him back. So all in all, I thought the podcast was great. Thanks everybody for watching Major Push Wrestling Talk Show. Please let me know what you thought down in the comment section below. Please give me a thumbs up. So thanks for watching.